everyone. Um, Sorry I'm so late. Got kind of caught up in something, and also I was making bread, and it took a lot longer to bake than I wanted it to. But we're here. We're spinning. So I weighed everything yesterday. Um, Turns out we could have fit probably another couple of boonies on the one from yesterday. I think so. Because it was so dark, I couldn't really see what the bobbin looked like, but I didn't really fill in the ridges. Like there's some empty space for sure, and it's missing a couple grams. Um, Hi, Ciaro. Hi, Skylark. Um, I'm so late that you're both here, like right at the beginning. Thank you for joining. I'm sorry I'm so late, but it's very nice to have you. But yeah, like I said, we could have actually fit a tiny bit more. If you look at these, so this guy is the one we spun yesterday, and this guy is the one we spun the day before. And yeah, so there's just like a tiny bit of space in between the ridges that we could fill up. And I probably will, most likely, because why not? But in the meantime, we're just gonna keep going on this stuff. Hang on. It's always sort of a challenge of making sure you guys can see, but I can also see chat. One day I will figure out a better way to do it, but for now I do have to adjust the screen sometimes. Anyway, I had a pretty good day, pretty uncharacteristically good day for me. I went to the farmer's market. They had garlic scapes, which is insane after I spent like quite a while on stream yesterday talking about how I would never have garlic scapes again. Well, they had them at the farmer's market. They're a little old, so they're very pungent. I don't know if that's the right word, but they taste pungent. So they're not quite like the ones that I would grow, but they're very good. And I'm going to put them on focaccia as soon as it cools, which should be delicious. But yeah, I went to the farmer's market. I went to like a antique / thrift store type situation. Got some good stuff. Made focaccia. Talked to a friend. All that good stuff. I hope you guys are having a good day. If you got up to anything interesting, I'm curious to hear about it. We've got the actual lights on this time because I, for once, don't have too bad of a migraine. So hopefully we should be able to see a little bit more, but I know that, with the potato webcam, it sort of just is what it is. But we're going to see how quickly we can, like how much of this we can do in an hour or so. I don't have quite as long to stream today because I did spend so long babying the focaccia with the broiler on, so it's what it is, unfortunately. But I think we'll get pretty far. Like, given that we spun an entire bobbin in 2 hours, 2.5 hours yesterday, I'm sure in 1 hour we'll still get pretty far. So we're gonna spin up all of the poonies that I have so far and then switch to making some more. See how far we can go. But it does seem like 30 is about how many we're gonna need per bobbin, which is good info to have for sure. Yeah, it was a good day. Garlic scape focaccia sounds amazing. I know, right? I wish I could have cooked it in the focaccia. I basically just sauteed it in a pan, and then I put a bunch of stuff on top of the focaccia, but once it cools and I can cut it up, I'm gonna make some sandwiches with the scapes and with the mushrooms, which were a little too fragile to put on, like put in the oven, you know. But I did tomatoes, some sort of like pesto stuff that I made, and garlic, and olives, and then jalapenos as well. Hard to go wrong with any of that. It should be really good. I hope it's good. We'll have to see. You just worked on prepping wool and spinning. Nice. That's always fun. Doing good here. Went kayaking earlier and ended up sunburned. Also gave one of my wheels a spa day. Oh, kayaking sounds awesome. I used to kayak a lot and I loved it. It was so relaxing. Like relaxing, but also physically quite challenging, which is an interesting combo, but one that I really enjoyed back in the day. I should probably give my wheel a spa day, but probably not. Knowing me, probably not. Maybe one day. I'm glad you're both doing good. I got some plants, which I'm very excited about. I have an air plant that I've had for a year or two. I really like air plants. Most of the plants that I have are not air plants. But I have one that I've had for a couple of years, and he's been going pretty strong. So I bought a whole bunch more, some of which are massive, and they were so cheap and they're so pretty. And I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna like maybe crochet some hanging baskets for them or something like that, so that I have a good way to display them. And also, I don't have anywhere to put them, so I kind of need to for that reason alone. But I'm very excited. I love I love air plants so much, and I love hanging baskets. It's just they're not typically what's the word? Like they're just not a great idea in my particular situation, so I don't usually use them. But I think for air plants where you are not watering them in the traditional sense, it's a lot easier. So I think I'm going to do some that are like just low enough that I can reach them while I'm in my wheelchair, and so I'll be able to take them out and soak them in water when they need to be watered. The nice thing about watering air plants is that they're the prettiest when they're underwater, because it really like makes all the colors really pop, and they're so pretty. And there's usually some really interesting bubble formations too, because you know there's like air trapped around it and inside it usually. So yeah, exciting. I held myself back from getting any other plants, except I did steal a bit of a cactus to propagate. But other than that, I held myself back. Air plants are awesome, yeah. I had a couple when I was a kid that I killed because I didn't really understand how indoor plants worked. I was like a gardener, not an indoor plant guy, so I killed them. But hopefully these ones I won't kill. I was kind of worried when I was looking over the yarn from yesterday. I was kind of worried that being drunk was gonna cause some serious issues, but like the bobbins are pretty much identical. The only reason I can even tell them apart is because I used my painted bobbin yesterday. So like I didn't get inconsistent or anything like that. I also wasn't really drunk though. I was like slightly buzzed. I have a very high alcohol tolerance even now. So, but yeah, glad to know that. Um, yeah, it should all be good. I'm so excited to buy this stuff. I really want to know how much we have. Like desperately want to know. I also booked a piercing appointment that I'm really excited about as well because I've wanted some more piercings for a while. and just didn't do it. And now I am, so that's exciting as well. You used to have an air plant, killed it in your last move. Yeah, it happens. Happens to the best of us. But you can always get another one at least. Give it another shot. I feel like a lot of people say that they're low maintenance, which is true. They are low maintenance, but that doesn't make them easy necessarily. Like knowing when they need to be watered can be tricky, um, especially because you can't really just use a schedule like you might with a lot of plants because they're so sensitive to humidity. So they can be pretty easy to kill, unfortunately, even when you know what you're doing. But although I wouldn't say I know what I'm doing. Like I have a lot of plants, but I know a lot more about them, and I've killed those too. So it's all sort of a guessing game for me when it comes to indoor plants. I think I was a much better gardener, but also only in the very specific climate where I grew up. And now that I don't live in that climate, like the last couple of years that I tried gardening, when I lived where I currently live, it did not go well. It was basically just a huge money sink, and then I would get a small return, but not much at all. But also, like gardening is, yes, it's for food, but also if you live somewhere where you can buy food, it's not just for food. It's also sort of for, at least for me. Like if I don't have plants to take care of, I will lose my mind. I always gotta have plants. Even at work, I have plants. I've got a cactus that I brought in like a couple of weeks after I started, and he's still alive. And then there's some other plants I brought in to work with the workers, but they basically just gave back to me. I think they're afraid of killing them. So yeah, this long draw is getting so easy and so fun. Really satisfying. Hang on, I wonder if I can adjust the camera better. You don't know what an air plant is, you will Google later. Fair enough. It's very hard to describe, so that's probably the best course of action. You were a good gardener. Could be the soil and not just the climate. I think it was both. But the climate really didn't help me because it rained all the time. And in California, that does not occur. You don't have to account for the possibility of rain when you're gardening things. So I should try long drawing wool at some point. I know, right? I think when I do the wool breaks, I'm gonna long draw. I'm gonna practice long drawing because I really want to know what it's like. I want to know if it's any easier, actually. Like if it's easier or harder. I'm very curious. Because I would say this, now that I have some practice, this is almost effortless. Not quite. Um, it's not perfect, certainly. Like there's errors in here, but it does not take very much concentration, and it's not difficult, which is really enjoyable, especially given where we were when we started. Busy cooking at the moment, but you're seriously considering spinning in a bit. You should. I love group spinning. You should totally spin. What are you cooking? You gave your one wheel a spa day because that one has the cotton work in progress on it. Ah, no. so you can't spin that. That's too bad. But given that you're spinning cotton on it, probably really needed the spa day because cotton is so fucking dusty, you know? Also, I'm sure it will be more cooperative once once it's all dry and happily cleaned. I think like every time I go in and remove some of the several years worth of dust and grime and grossness from my wheel, it spins way better for a while until I get more grossness in there. So I really should clean. It's just like anytime I'm buying my wheel, I want to be spinning. I don't want to be scrubbing things or removing dust. I want to be spinning, you know? You're too tired to spin though. That is fair. Spending a whole day like prepping and spinning is definitely tiring. There's a reason that I only spin for like 2 hours max on my streams most of the time, and I don't spin other times. That's all I got in me, you know? No, every time. Come on. Give that another shot. I really, really wish that this wheel had a higher ratio. I'm not gonna lie. The 17-1 is like not enough. Is really not enough for this. I think if I had like a 25-1, I'd be perfect. I wouldn't have to focus on treadling as fast as I can, which is what I'm currently having to do. So that's unfortunate. I could get a flyer, like I could get a lace flyer, which I think would let me have a much higher ratio. Basically because of the smaller whorls on it. I don't know. I guess I might do that, but I also don't really want to do that in the middle of a project. I think maybe if it turns out that I've underspun this whole scene, which would be a little gutting. So hopefully that's not the case. But if I do like find that I am consistently underspinning things because I can't treadle enough to add enough twist, I probably will get a lace flyer. I just don't. The thing is, I don't know if Kromsky specifically sells lace flyers that have a higher ratio. I know some do. I just don't know if Kromsky does. I'm still near the beginning. It'd be better to fix it now, you think? Yeah, that is true. That is definitely true. Especially because I think I'm gonna, like, I imagine I'd need about 10 skeins. That's pure guesswork, given that I don't know the yardage yet, but I'm guessing I'm gonna need 10 skeins or thereabouts. So having one extra skein that needs to be used for something a little less durable that would be okay. You're making some rice and pork chops and eating a late dinner. Ooh, that sounds good. Rice is delicious. I love rice. I've never had a pork chop before, but I've heard that is also good. So sounds very good. But yeah, like watching the watching it all like draw out and get smooth is so satisfying. I really love doing that. But then, of course, every time I focus on like just watching it, it breaks because I forget to treadle, and then which is kind of why I think a different flag would help me. Like I shouldn't. Ideally, I should not be treadling as fast as I possibly can, just like this whole time. That's not good. But also I don't want don't want to buy another flyer. I just don't. We'll have to see. It depends entirely on how this scheme turns out, I think. But yeah, I had kind of forgot that that was potentially an option for a very long time. And I saw a post on Tumblr about it today, and I was like, oh man, that could have fixed a lot of problems. But that's okay. We'll see. It also kind of depends on how expensive they are. I've just spent a lot of money on various things. Yeah, totally fair to not want to buy things. Yeah. I'm like, I love shopping. I don't love spending money. It's the spending money part that I really don't like. The shopping part I love. Maybe a little too much. It does look like Kromsky sells extra fast 25 to 1 whirls for their wheels. Ooh. Does Since you're already there, does it say how much they are? That's like exactly what I need. Is a 25 to 1 would probably be like perfect for this particular application anyway. Yeah, hang on. But yeah, if like you'll notice that I keep it keeps going too thin and I drop it, and that's because I'm not adding enough twist. Because I can't quite keep up. Like my treadling is not as fast as my drafting is at this point, which is not the problem I was having initially, but it is the problem I'm having now, especially because my leg is a little bit tired. I'm really hoping that once I get my loaner chair, which is going to have leg, it's either adductors or abductors. They're both a thing, and I don't remember which one I'm getting. But basically, to keep my legs from getting all messed up. And I think that should help a lot because at the moment I'm expending quite a lot of energy anytime I'm in my chair just trying to keep my legs in place. And that makes my legs really tired. So, but that is also going to be a while down the line. So I think the flyer is probably a better option. They don't list prices on their website. What? That's insane. Oh, that checks out for Kromsky. But I guess I could probably get one used if nothing else. Thank you for checking, by the way. That's very kind of you. But also, like, presumably, I could sand down the groove in this whorl, and because like the entire thing that decides what the ratio is how big this is versus how big this is. So if I were to sand this down and make it smaller, that would completely change the ratio. I'm just afraid of not doing it evenly. But as it is, this like the 9, or is it a 7? One of the two. This is like below 10, and then the middle one is 14, and then the smallest one is 17. And like 14 to 17 is just not much of a difference. It's not really worth it to me. So I'd rather have like 14 and then 21 or something like that. What wheel do I have? I have a Kromsky, I think interlude. I don't remember. There's like a Sonata, an interlude, and then another one. And they're all like basically identical wheels, except the size is different. So this is the middle size, and I think the middle size is the interlude. It's been a long time since I bought it, so I really don't remember. But I do know it's Kromsky. I'm pretty sure they still make these things. Would not ever recommend buying one, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could just sand it down. Like already, the resale value of my wheel is not going to be very good no matter what because of the issues he has. So if it's also like also I changed the whirl, the smallest whirl speed, I don't think that would really change that much. Um, I'm heavily considering it now that I've thought of that because like I did quite a bit of woodworking back in the day. I don't know if there's a specific tool for this. If there is, I don't have it, but certainly some sandpaper would go a long way. Um, yeah, I don't know. I need to think about it. The one thing that I would worry about is yeah, doing it unevenly and then it doesn't spin well. I don't know if that would be a problem or not, but like I don't have a lathe, and a lathe would help significantly in making it stay even and smooth. That's what I don't have. Much to consider. Maybe never mind on those fast whirls. They only seem to fit on specific wheels. Ah, okay. Paradise Fibers has something called a faster flyer for $90. Yeah, I've. That's what I was looking at. That like I saw a post about that specific thing actually. I think the problem is I don't think it would fit on my wheel. Um, like like Skylark said, it sort of like the flyer has to fit the wheel. It has to be made for the wheel, in fact, most of the time. So you can't just like plunk any random flyer on there. It's gotta be the correct one for it to actually work. Unfortunately, you don't know if it's much faster than what I have. I think it is. 17 is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty slow for the fastest whirl. Most people who have wheels that I know, their fastest whirl is in the 20s. Um, like maybe it is just 20, but nonetheless. I think like or at least designed by people who don't actually spin because there's many aspects of it that are like if you used it you would immediately change it. You would not proceed with that design, so that makes me think that spinner thought was not necessarily put into this, just engineer thought or something like that. Money thought, most likely. You will not find much Kromsky praise on my streams, I will say that. Not a fan. There's not like I don't think there's really any other companies that I have beef with, and there's some that I really love, like Howard Brush Outlet on Etsy. I recommend their stuff to absolutely anybody looking for carders because they're so good and they're so cheap. Um, like actually a good intersection of those two things, which is hard to find. But I love their stuff. Um, it's difficult to make me hate a brand, like a spinning brand specifically, but Kromsky did that. Ooh, interesting. You've been wanting a higher ratio flyer on one of your wheels, but you don't have access to a lathe either. I know, right? That's the slowdown. Like if I were able, I could make a lathe pretty easily, just like a pedal lathe, but I wouldn't be able to use it standing up. I would absolutely injure myself. So that's out. Um, I don't know anybody with a lathe, so I don't know. We'll have to think about it further. It says it has interlude, prelude, and sonata. Interesting. 20 to 1 is the fast one on it for the interlude. Are you on the are you talking about the faster flyer? Um, or are you talking about the wheel itself? It is possible I misremembered, but I'm pretty sure that at least this specific wheel, the fastest one is 17 to 1. Um, which makes me wonder if either I miscounted, which is possible, because that's how I measured it was by counting, or alternately, if it used to be lower and they upped it, which would be very smart. It should be that to begin with. But I'm pretty sure mine isn't. Oh, the faster flyer. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You used the Fantasia a few times. You didn't have a problem with it, but you didn't use it all the time. Yeah. Like, I don't think that all Kromsky wheels are bad. Absolutely not. Just mine was terrible. Because mine, like, my whole experience and my wheel itself has so many issues, I just could never, in good conscience, recommend Kromsky to anybody. But I know that they have some good products, and a lot of people are happy with it. Yeah. I mean, I love my wheel, but they fucked up. It's sort of like, no, that's actually not an apt analogy. Never mind. Never mind. I've been thinking, this is unrelated completely. I've been thinking about moving some of my plants down so that instead of looking at my air conditioning unit and the floor, you'd be looking at my plants. The only thing is, I don't like my cat would get to them, and that's obviously not a good thing. So I would need to find a setup where I could either move them after the stream easily or something else. I don't know. But I really want to have a nice background for you guys. It's just like, it's weirdly difficult when you're sort of stuck with having to work with the particular height of my spinning wheel, which I am. Like, it has to be focused at this height. I can't have it focused at a higher height because then you won't be able to see it. So yeah, this is detaching so much, and it's just purely because I'm not pedaling fast enough because my legs kind of tired. Ugh. So it's probably a good thing that we're not gonna be spinning another full bobbin in one go today. We're gonna, once I finish up these, I think we'll stop spinning for the day, but then just make a bunch of extra roll lags or a bunch of extra poonies for later, because that seems reasonable to do that. I guess what I really need to do is just slow down my drafting, but I don't know why it's so hard to do that. It really is though. Like, my drafting speed is my drafting speed. My treadling speed I can change, but I have to pay attention to it. But I also cannot treadle faster than I'm currently treadling. And I'm not even. This is not a sustainable speed to treadle at either. So yeah, problems, many problems. You don't know if you can paste a link, but you're gonna try. Thanks. No worries if not. I'm sure I can also Google it later. I have no idea if it's possible to paste links in chat. I've never tried. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I know that the background is not exactly the star of the show. Obviously, it's the background, but um, nonetheless, I think it would make it a little nicer to look at. We only have one Puni left, which I'm thankful for. My leg hurts. It doesn't hurt in like an injury way, but it does hurt in a I'm not used to working it out this much way. So Okay, last one. We got pretty far, actually. Like, that's fairly full in a pretty short time, in 35 minutes. That's pretty good. Happy with that. I had been hoping that I might come up with some notes doing all these poonies, like ways to improve it, but if I did, I don't remember them. I think they're fine. Although I do vaguely remember saying at one point that I wanted to put a little bit more care into the carding, like as opposed to just sort of slapping the cards together, which is what I do. I wanted to put more care into it so that my two passes went a little farther, you know. So I think that's probably the main thing that we're going to try to focus on once we get to it. Sometimes, like, reattaching goes well. Most of the time, I'd say reattaching goes well. Damn it. But the times that it doesn't are usually when there's a piece of VM or a piece of debris, like right there, or in this case, several pieces of debris right there that make it impossible to reattach because it's like gripping VM, it's not gripping fiber. Let's see if we can make it work. It's really funny. Like most of the time when I'm zipping along, I feel like I'm doing good. Like I feel like I know what I'm doing. And then when I hit a patch where I'm reattaching the same piece of fiber like 6 times, I'm like, wow, I don't know what I'm doing at all. I think both are true. I don't know what I'm doing, and I do know what I'm doing to an extent. I know some things, not much. I am hoping that this will be a good size, because my other idea would be a laid 4-ply. Like if this ends up to be too thin, like yes, I could draft it thicker, but more plies equals more durability. So a laid 4-ply would be a lot more durable than a 3-ply that is just kind of thick, especially given that this is such a woolen preparation. I mean, it's not wool, but it is a woolen prep. Yeah, I kind of wonder. I think I probably should have done a smaller amount to test rather than 3 full bobbins, but I also did, a whole month of testing. And I got a lot of info, but at a certain point, you do just have to get going and start, The problem with a laid 4-ply, though, is that I would be doing so many ply bracelets. And that sounds like a lot of work. Like a lot of work I don't necessarily want to do. Just about like every single part of my back crack right there. All right. All right, so we finished off that. I do think that's quite a good amount for the amount of time we did. I'm happy with that. But I think we're going to focus on carding now. So let me just sort of rearrange everything. Get the spinning god in view. Should probably move my water unless I want to drink cotton. I have before, it doesn't taste that good. All right. Here's the thing. Hang on, let me put this down for a second. Here's the thing. I'm worried about running out of cotton already because I dyed so much of it like an idiot. This is what I have remaining. It doesn't feel like enough. I mean, it's pretty compacted down. I haven't taken it out of the bag, so it's pretty compact. But I'm I'm really worried I'm gonna run out like mid project, and it took so long for this to ship to me. So we'll see. We will see. Chuck is the star. That's true, except she's very lazily sleeping on my bed right now and not doing her job as the channel mascot. So unfortunately, she's not reliable. Hang on. Hmm. You did paste the link, but you don't know if it shows up for other people. No, it doesn't. That is interesting and good to know. I'm guessing for like anti-spam purposes, even though in this case I do want to see it. Um, that makes sense though. Setting up your wheel. Forgive you if you go quiet, wheels in front of your keyboard. No problem. Nice to spin together. So I'm putting a little bit more attention and energy into actually cleaning up bits that I notice are clumping still. So we'll see if that makes a difference. The main thing I'm hoping that it's gonna fix is the brakes. But I know it's not gonna fix the brakes, but it might help a little with them. I do think like those brakes aren't just when I like it's the only factor is not um, me treadling too slowly. Like there's multiple factors. And I think when I get those breaks, it's a combination of I started treadling too slowly and then I hit a spot that was not quite as well prepared. It wasn't quite as mixed in. And so hopefully this will help. We're gonna pile them in front of the keyboard again and see see how long you can still see my spinning mascot for, among other things. I need, okay, that works. Not one of my better loading jobs, but oh well. I think the main thing that this, like that contributes to actually opening up and straightening and aligning and, you know, doing the work is when I tilt my card like this and then it goes along the tines, like it sort of comes open. Whereas if you just go straight, which is sort of like that's what I do with wool. If you just go straight with cotton, you're not going to do anything. It took me a really long time to figure that out. Quite a few bad ponies. Okay, yeah. So I feel like I am getting better results doing that. Not that you can see super well, but typically it's the beard that will show it. And this is a really nice clean beard. It's often not a very nice clean beard. So I don't remember exactly how many we had left over that we've put on this bobbin. I think, I don't know. It was like maybe 8 or 9, right? So we probably want another 20 or so. And also potentially, what's that big thing in here? Hang on. Just like a huge piece of VM that I felt. The culprit. That's pretty big. What is that? Ah, it's a bit of wood, actually. That's interesting. No idea how that got in there. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't remember. Sorry. I do always get distracted trying to figure out what the debris is this time. This is a really long one. I don't know why. I feel like I've sort of messed this one up at some point. I'm not sure which point, but it's like incredibly long and it shouldn't be. Interesting. Very interesting. To compare, hang on. Here's the one I just did, or the one I did first. Here's the. It's definitely a lot longer. It's not on purpose. I think I just got distracted and it got dragged a little bit, maybe. That's my only guess. There's a possibility when I switch to this new insurance that I've already enrolled in, there is a possibility that I will actually get medicated for my ADHD once again after about 10 years of no medication. And I'm really curious what the streams are going to be like. Um, it's been so long since I was medicated. But it's possible that they'll get so much more coherent, which would be really nice. At the moment, I do feel quite scatterbrained, but unfortunately, that's kind of just me. So until Adderall is dispensed, I shall remain scatterbrained. 8? You don't remember exactly either. That sounds right. Like, it wasn't a lot left. It was definitely more than would fit on that one bobbin, but it wasn't a lot. So I think you're right. It's probably around 8. Ah. So I'm still torn on what exactly we're gonna do for the wool interlude. Um, we could do part of a project, like part of a bigger project, or we could just do like a bit of a bat or something, a one-off, like a one stream skein type situation. We could do that as well. And I like there's pros and cons to both. Um, I think the pro of doing like working on a long-term project, such as spinning some of those Rolags that I have and that I haven't done anything with, is that I would be, making progress in that. That'd be awesome. And also, they're already made, so that would save a lot of prep work. But the con is that when I come back to it later, it will have been quite a while. And historically, if I leave a long time in between spinning one skein and the next skein, they are not, they don't match at all. And I do want them to match. So that's sort of an issue there. But then on the other hand, if I do a one stream skein, the issue there is one, I have to prep that fiber, which is extra work I would have to find time to do outside of the stream, most likely. And 2, it would just go in the hand spun pile, right? Like I have no particular use for random skeins until I find a use for them. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I've got at least one or two more streams, I think, before we got to deal with that. We'll see. Until Adderall dispensed is a mood. I am sorry that I'm not the only one being like ADHD'd due to lack of proper medication. It's not fun. So I'm sorry you're there with me. Do I have enough bobbins? Well, I would like if I finished up that bit in that one stream, because I'll have all three back once I've like plied it, right? So I'd be back with my normal 3 bobbins, and then most likely I'd either chain ply it or self ply it. Or I guess I mean I can do a 2-ply pretty easy since I have 3 bobbins. So I would definitely want to keep it contained to one episode, or one stream rather, because otherwise it's like I'd sort of lose steam, I think. So yeah, I don't think bobbins would be an issue because I wouldn't be storing it on long term, just long enough to do the stream. Yeah, if I do more than one stream per wool, I'd have to manage bobbins, exactly, and I don't want to do that. Managing bobbins is like one of my least favorite parts of spinning on a wheel. The other option though is like I could just do it on my e-spinner and give my legs a break. Actually, now that I think about it, that might not be a bad idea. That might be the way to go. Because I have 6 e-spinner bobbins, which is more than enough for a single skein. You can make a pretty good amount with that. That sounds perfect, to be honest. Yeah, I agree. And also, that means Chuck will be far more heavily featured because I will be sitting in bed, and that is Chuck's favorite place. And especially when I'm in bed, she's like, cool, we're snuggling. You can't say no to this. So yeah, I think that's going to be the way to go. I still don't know if I want to do a long-term project though, or not. Or not, long-term project's the wrong word, but like bigger project, you know. Many things to think about. Maybe after I finish this, or like after I finish this stream, I'll poke around through my wool and see what I got. Spinning a bat on my e-spinner on stream sounds pretty enjoyable, pretty low stress. So that's probably what we'll do. I mean, we can always switch it up, like one wool interlude to the next. It doesn't have to be the same thing. And additionally, at some point, I want to maybe try some of my other fibers, like silk interlude. I could do. I have a couple of silk hankies that I bought at the last Fiber Fest I went to, and I haven't touched them, and it's been a couple years actually. So I probably should. I don't know if an e-spinner is the way to do it though. I've never really spun silk. I've spun it in blends, but not by itself, and I've heard that's quite different. So I don't know. I know that with the e-spinner, one of the problems I sometimes have is that I don't really have anything to pull against because I don't have anything to bolt my e-spinner down to. So if I try and pull against it, like I often do when I'm drafting on my treadle wheel, it just kind of comes with me. Not ideal. Sounds like a bigger project fits into my life better, to be honest. It does. It does. I just worry about my competency, if that makes sense. Like about my competency to be able to do that well over a long period of time, just because historically I haven't. I'm so indecisive, I know, I'm sorry. If it gets annoying on stream, let me know and I'll shut up about it. I don't mind. Silk hankies are so fun. And then silk hankies are hard on hands. I believe both. I know that there's like multiple ways to spin silk hankies, and I think some of them are probably going to be easier on my hands than others. So I'd probably want to figure that out. But yeah, my hands can't take a lot of strain. unfortunately. I used to be able to like be super rough with them, which is probably why they're really fucked up now. Oh, it is what it is. It's like with my ankles. Like my ankles are a mess um, because I didn't take care of them when I was running. Running was one of my favorite hobbies for a very long time. And yeah, I just did not take care of them at all. And now my ankles are kind of destroyed and cause me problems when spinning. Um, live and learn, I guess. I wish somebody had told me, but I think it's a EDS thing. It's not most people's ankles are not supposed to do that. Mine do because I got very unlucky with the genetic lottery. You gave up on hankies because it just hurts so much for you. Oof, that sucks. I think it's quite possible that would also be the case for me, but I don't know until I try. So it's fine. We're hanging out. I can be indecisive. Thanks. I appreciate it. You have rheumatoid arthritis. Your experience is not universal. Yeah, fair, fair. Certainly, every disability is its own thing. But that said, if somebody says something is hard on the hands, whether or not they're disabled, I'm gonna listen to them, or like whether or not they have the same disability that I do as well, because my hands are kind of delicate at this point. Or delicate's the wrong word. Fragile, I guess, along with the rest of me. It is what it is, though, you know. Like, unfortunately, this is the body I got. So we do what we can, and it is what it is. Yeah, I think after this stream, I'll poke around in my wool collection, just fiber collection in general, and see if I have something that presents itself as looking good. Aha! You can finally start to see a little bit of it. Just a tiny sliver at the bottom of the screen. That's really fair. Silk can be hard on the hands. Oof. Okay. I hate to hear that it's hard on the hands for people who don't necessarily always have to worry about that. There's like I know that there are multiple ways to process it. I've looked into it a fair amount and then just not actually done it myself. But I saw somebody sort of utilizing tools to stretch it out first, and it didn't look like it took too much effort. Um, Sorry for all the pauses. I've been destroying one of my cuticles off camera because it's been bothering me. And now I've destroyed it, so we should be fine. uh, Ow. Huh. That's kind of surprising. That's the first time that's happened. I just whacked my hand really hard against the armrest, and it's like, how did I not do that earlier? But this is like the 100th or so, if not way more than that. 100th one I've done here. So, one aspect of my disability, um, of the unknown disability that I'm still trying to get diagnosed, is that when I use a muscle, especially when I overuse a muscle, it just permanently gets weaker. And that has been happening for years. So I went from being actually a very strong guy with a lot of endurance to the endurance of a newborn, like, I don't know, a newborn something, and the strength of like a very weak person. None of these are good comparisons, but you get what I'm saying here. Um, and one of the worries I've had this whole time that I've been doing these streams is that I'm damaging my muscles because I never really know what's gonna do it. It seems a little random, but it does consistently happen. And typically, if I start getting really clumsy and weak and just kind of can't control it, that means I'm damaging it. And that feels like what's happening right now, which is not pleasant. Um, but also, the other thing about that is I have not let that stop me from doing things, which is not to say that you should power through damaging your body, but it's a personal decision, you know. Um, I do it because I have to for work. And if I don't do it for my hobbies, then I'm just destroying my body for work and I'm not even having any fun. Whereas if I do it for my hobbies too, at least I get to live a little, right? But it's very much a sword of Damocles type situation, which is really not fun to think about. But it is what it is. So we're gonna keep going, unless I like actually super fuck something up. We'll see. You never know. The problem The problem I'm now having is like the pile of Goonies is not so high that you guys can really see it, but it is high enough that I can't read chat at all. It's completely covered up by the Goonies. Um, God damn it. Like if I really crane my head and lean over, I kind of can. Hey Zertra. Yeah, I know it's late. I started super late. I said I was gonna start at like 6:20 my time, and I think I started at 7. In my defense, bread and other things. So I had good reasons. Um, it's an understandable decision. Yeah, it's it's one of those lose lose, but it, I gotta I gotta enjoy something. I've tried living life like just solely 100% focused on work, and it is so depressing. I cannot live like that. Um, so And frankly, I would much rather destroy my body spinning than doing work, like doing, work that I get paid for. This is so much more important to me. So if that's how I fuck everything up, then it is what it is. It's a very fuck it, we ball attitude, but about spinning and knitting socks and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's why I'm always sort of vaguely alluding to the fact that I won't be able to do this or anything forever, is because if I do it, I'll damage myself. And I've already sort of reached the point where, I mean, obviously, because I use a power chair, I've reached the point where I can't do most normal activities anymore, just from doing normal activities. And that's what did it. That's what broke me. It's very disappointing, I have to say. Um, like, I put so much effort into getting my body what I wanted it to be. Like, I put so much effort into strength training, into endurance training, into everything, and then like that, the fact that I was an athlete as a kid is quite possibly why I'm as fucked up as I am now. If I hadn't been, Not as a kid, but as a teenager. If I hadn't been, maybe I would still be somewhat able to lead a normal life. But I didn't know. No, nobody told me. I had no idea. But it's very frustrating. It's like it's the little things mostly. Like, for example, I spent a long time teaching myself how to walk completely silently, and I also spent a long time at being able, like, learning how to move in a way that people just wouldn't notice me. It was important to me, and I spent a long time learning those skills. Let me fucking tell you how loud my power chair is. You can hear it from all the way down the block, and there's nothing I can do about it. Um, and also, you notice it like from pretty far away because it doesn't look like a person silhouette. It looks like something weird, and it's so I'm so annoyed about that. Like, come on, what the hell? Like, I do very much feel like I got scammed out of a normal body. I'm not gonna lie. It's cool. I'm not on a schedule. Yeah, that's true. I like doing things at the same time just because it makes my autism happy, but it is entirely true that I'm not on a schedule. We just do it when we can. That would upset you too. Yeah, thanks. It really upsets me. But, also, on the other hand, there's literally nothing I can do about it other than accept it or, yeah, pretty much just accept it or like bury my head in the sand, which um, maybe that would help block the sound a little, but that's it's not really my style. I don't know how many we have so far. It's actually not a huge pile, despite the fact that it's making it really hard to read chat. And despite the fact that you can see it, it's actually not a very big pile. Um, did it again. That's not good. Might need to put some sort of like barrier on this. I don't know. Just because I've now banged my hand against it twice in a row in one stream. Not that it's doing any damage, but it's like if I do that repeatedly, well, then we got problems. Was that just the first pass, or was that the second one? No. Okay. I do want to count them, though. I don't think we'll be able to get up to 30, or no, we need 20, I guess. We might get up to 20. That's doable. We'll have to see how many I got. I'm guessing I've got about 10 right now, which is not a whole ton. Now you can really see them. You also moved in a way people didn't notice. You don't remember trying to learn that. You just ended up that way. That's fair. It's yeah. I remember with my rollator, that was when I just fully stopped being able to move silently. You can kind of do it with a cane, depending on the cane. But with the rollator, I was like, oh, that's over. So I'm guessing you also can't move silently anymore, which sucks. You did that as a child and teen too. You were so good at knowing the creaking stairs too. You're heavier and clumsier now, so you stopped at some point. That's interesting. That makes me feel a little better to know that there's also like, I don't know, non life destroying disability reasons for that to happen too. So thanks for saying that. Did I spin all of last time's boonies and we still have stream time? Yes. Yes, that's what's on. You can barely see it. That's what's on here. I think it was like 8 is about how many poonies we had left over. So that's now on the third bobbin. And yeah, now we're just making more to finish it off. So I think we need about 20 more. Um, so you just can't really walk anymore. Limping doesn't translate into not noticeable. Yeah, I know what you mean. Kind of looks like snow piling up. It does. That's true. I could add small Christmas trees and snowmen. I could. Wrong weather for it though. It's like 80 degrees outside right now. Way too warm. I mean, I like heat. Where I grew up, it would easily be 100 degrees. I'm sorry, I don't remember what that is in Celsius. My apologies. But yeah, it would easily be 100 degrees in the summer, but the humidity would be 0%, and that's what gets you is the humidity. I know everyone says that, but it's literally true. Oh, you can't see my carding anymore. All right, I think I have to move them so that you can actually see things again. But that does give me an opportunity to count, which is good because I'm curious. 5, 6, 8, 10, 13. Okay, that's more than I thought. We only have to do like 7 more. Maybe I'll just put them there. Still see them. I can read chat so much easier now. 38, 37. Yeah, I mean, I like that temperature as long as it's 0 humidity. That's beautiful for me. It like you go outside and you feel like you're on the surface of the sun. I enjoy that. That's what a proper summer should be. Not you go outside and you feel like you're in Satan's armpit, which is what it feels like here. It's really gross. Like the mugginess, the fact that you're basically just sticky with sweat constantly. Ugh, I don't like it. You start having a bad time past 26C, past 30C, your whole life starts revolving around it. That sucks. For me, it just depends 100% on humidity. When it's like the temperature outside that it is right now, 80 degrees, whatever that is in Celsius, with the humidity that we have, which is usually like 70% minimum and usually more like 80 to 90, that's way too much for me and I get really messed up. Like I have to be somewhere cool because I can't really regulate my body temperature in this humidity. But I'm pretty sure that if I were to go back to California where I grew up in the summer, I think I would still be able to deal with the 100-degree summers and 0% humidity because that it just doesn't cause problems for me. Like I was supposed to live in a desert, pretty much. I guess there's still time. I could always move somewhere else. I'm not gonna lie, I really hate the city I live in. It's my least favorite place I've ever lived. Easily, I hate everything about it. I hate everything about this area. I don't really like the people very much, like culturally. There's a shocking amount of difference between the way people here act and the way people act where I grew up, and I don't like it. Um, That said, that would be different, or that'd be the same issue no matter where I go. But at least I would not have to deal with these specific types of people that I dislike. um, like it's a politeness thing. My idea of what's polite seems to be the polar opposite of people here what they think is polite, and so I am constantly like offending people and also getting offended in return. And I thought I'd get used to it because I've been here. Um, Good God, I've been here like 6 or 7 years now, but I have not gotten used to it at all. So I guess I could always move to a totally different state, um, but that sounds really difficult in a power chair. I don't know how I would do that at all. I kind of feel like I got stuck here, which sucks. I'd love to live in the desert. I think that would fix me. Although I might miss the trees. I don't know. I guess there's not a lot of trees in the desert, huh? I didn't grow up in the desert. I've always wanted to live in one. I grew up in a sort of like scrublands is probably the right term, arid scrublands. But that's nice too. I like it. Oh, 80 is 20F or 26. That's good to know. Thank you. It also helps if the buildings are built for it. Literally, the buildings here are built for pre-climate change. And so most of them don't even have ACs. This is the first place I've lived since I moved here 7 years ago that has an AC, which is insane to me. Like everywhere else had swamp coolers. Just the worst. And like the insulation is built to keep the cold out and heat in, which is the exact opposite of what you want in the summer. Moving sucks, even able. I know, right? Like moving to this state from my home state was pretty terrible. And I mean, I was using a cane at the time, I think, but I was a lot less disabled back then, and it was terrible. And I didn't even do most of the work. My sister did most of the work, to be honest, because I was only like 17, 18 or something like that. So yeah, I don't think I could do it now, and it would be really expensive too. I'd have to have a job lined up. Yeah, it's just not gonna happen, I think. But I wish. I can wish about it. There are some places in this state that are more desert-like, and I think this particular city has its own culture of how people act, and it's not necessarily how everybody in this state or even in this region acts. It's just this city. Um, so I could probably have a better time if I just moved a little bit more into the countryside. I'd really love to do that. I don't know if that's feasible either, but you never know. It'd be cool if life could improve instead of just steadily getting worse forever. I don't know how to make that happen though. A lot of it's out of my control. If you go to the desert in the winter, that could be nice. That does sound nice. I loved the place where I lived in the winter. It had the best winters, I think. It basically never snowed where I grew up. I mean, it basically never snowed. We'd get some rain, but mostly it was just like cold and calm and quiet. I really enjoyed that. I meant to put these braces on when I started spinning like an hour and 20 minutes ago, and I only just now remembered because my wrist hurt. Damn it. You wish that too. You want things to be better for once. Yeah, I think that is the disabled mood, especially the disabled and living in America mood. I assume you live in America, just from measurements, but apologies if I'm wrong. But good God, this fucking place. I mean, it's not good anywhere, but oh my God. Anyway, I don't want to think about it on stream for sure, or in general most of the time, but especially not on stream. I think we're approaching 20, by the way. It feels like a pretty sizable pile over there. Ooh, you know, I just realized I have some fibers that not wool fibers, but animal fibers anyway, that I kind of have been putting off using because I didn't have a good way to process them. I have hand combs. I have multiple pairs of hand combs. I just can't really use them anymore. And so it made it really hard to process stuff. But also, like, I have cashmere that's really short, so you can't process it on hand combs because it's too short. But I bet you could process it on these. And so now I'm kind of thinking, what if for the wool interlude, we just spun some cashmere? That could be really nice. And that would be a good way to practice long draw too, because it's like, it's a very similar fiber to cotton in some ways. In terms of staple length, it's about the same. And I would say it sticks to itself about as much as this cotton does, this gind cotton does. So that's an interesting idea. I might have to just make a rolag or two and see how it goes. I'm very curious now. I bought it ages ago, and I've been putting this factor, but I never really had a good way to process it. Yeah. I think we're all excited about that, so we might have to do that. You lived in the Central Valley for a few years. You've been imagining I lived somewhere with a similar climate. I don't think so. I currently live somewhere super rainy, gross, and terrible, which I guess could also describe the Central Valley. But I've never been to. By Central Valley, do you mean the Midwest? This is gonna be embarrassing as fuck, but I do not remember anything about American geography. We did not learn it in school. I'm not gonna lie. And I was kind of more interested in learning other things, so I never got around to it. So yeah, I don't know much about the geography of my country, which is embarrassing. But you know what I do know a lot about? Spinning wool. More important anyway, right? Way more important. Oh, well, when I lived in California near Sacramento. No, but I did go there a lot. That makes more sense. I was like, huh, Central Valley, kind of like from California, but I assumed you meant elsewhere. Um, no, I lived. See, I can't give the exact spot because it's small enough that it would probably dox me. But I did not live there or particularly near there. I lived elsewhere. I think the main thing is that due to the mountains in the area where I lived, the climate was really different than anywhere outside of those mountains. So it got a lot different weather than the Central Valley. I liked driving through the Central Valley though. it's so empty. That probably makes it not a good place to live, I would guess. But I liked driving through it a lot back when I could do such things. Yeah, no worries. I do think the climate's pretty different. Honestly, I haven't spent much time in Sacramento, but it didn't really feel the same. It definitely felt like I had gone traveling. Like when I went to San Francisco, that felt like a very different climate as well. I miss San Francisco too. There's a lot of places in California that I really like. Even though I didn't like visit most of California. There's just a couple of cities I went to, but and lived in. But yeah. All right, I'm curious how many we have. I'm guessing it's more than 20 because I think I kind of got distracted there. So let's see. 7, 9, 12, 15, 19. That's hilarious. Slightly under. Well, we'll do a couple more then. At least get to 20. 19 is one of my lucky numbers, so I really desperately want to stop there, but I'm not going to. I said 20, so we're going to do 20. Yeah, everybody seems to like the cashmere idea, so I think we're going to do cashmere. And I'll see if I can find something fun to blend it with, maybe. I don't know. It would be like a small amount of another thing and a large amount of cashmere, because I've already done the reverse, small amount of cashmere and large amount of other thing, and that's not super interesting. I have some really fine cormo that I could add in. It is white, so it's not really the most interesting. But I could technically do that. Let's see, I've got some really fine Shetland I could add in. Um, that could be interesting. I only really want to add fibers that are similarly soft so that we get the full softness effect. I don't know what I would do with a skein of cashmere, but pet it maybe. That would be worth it, just to pet it. So yeah, I don't know. But that's going to be fun. We'll definitely do that. At least for this one. I'm sure I'll change it up every time because that would be the funner way to do it anyway, in my opinion. From the outside, California looks gigantic, so you guess plenty of climate variations. Yeah, especially because it's so long, and part of it's on the coast. So the coast parts have totally different climates you know, um, from the other side that's not on the coast. And then the top part has a totally different climate from the bottom part, and so does the middle part. So there's a ton of different climates in it, which I really enjoyed. I like a lot of things about California. I don't like the wildfires. Can't deal with the wildfires. That's why I lived, or that's why I moved rather. From this angle, they look a bit like stretched film peanuts. You're not wrong. They kind of do. San Francisco was nice back in the day. You don't know about now. Yeah, I haven't been there in a long time. Um, Definitely not since pre-COVID. It's been a while. That's where I'm from originally, and so it holds a you know soft spot for me. But I haven't been there in so long. I'm sure it's changed completely. It's probably unrecognizable. Petting it sounds great. Yes, we will definitely be petting it. We'll also have to be petting the Chuck because there is no choice in petting the Chuck. Well, there is a choice. It's pet Chuck or get bitten. She's a very simple cat like that. Oh, she's currently laying on my bed snoring. It's very cute. Well, I should probably go. We've got exactly 20. We've got it's a mountain of ponies. We've got all that spun up, which is pretty nice. And we've got enough to finish it off actually. So that's actually awesome. We won't have to card any more until like any more cotton until the whole next batch, which is kind of crazy that I've carded that much cotton. So yeah, I guess next stream we'll be finishing this and then probably starting in on plying it if we have time, which we may not. Now that I think about it though, we probably won't be able to start in on plying it unless I bite the bullet and transfer this stuff onto here. I could do that just like I'm gonna do that off stream, I think, because it's not really interesting and I'd have to come up with something to talk about the whole time, which could be hard. So, and I can basically just do it unattended. It's actually really cool. Like I have, if I turn the tension on really high on my e-spinner and then I just let this start going, it basically just unwinds itself and wraps on here without adding a whole lot of extra twist. Actually, it basically just wraps it onto here and it just does it automatically without me needing to do anything. It's very fun. It's not interesting to watch, but it's very fun. So I'll try and do that before the next stream if I can, so that we can just go right into it. We'll see. We'll see. Also, 2 ranges of mountains. That's true. I always forget about. Actually, isn't there like a couple in there? Like maybe, or a couple extra in there, some small ones. I gotta look at California on a map again, I guess, because I don't remember now. Yeah, thank you all for hanging out on stream. It's been very fun as always. Always have a great time with you guys. You got some decent work into this cotton spin. Nice, nice. Congrats. I feel the same way, frankly. Yeah, catch you all next time. And I'm so excited to start flying it. Yeah. Hopefully we'll be doing that soon. Hopefully tomorrow if I can. But I am getting some piercings tomorrow, so we'll see. Might be too tired. But yeah, I hope you all have a good night. Enjoy my scape focaccia. Oh, I will. Trust me, I will very much be enjoying that. I think it's cool. I have to eat now, actually. Yeah. All right. Good night, everyone. Catch you later.